be a joint presentation by me and Elena. We are both working as consultants in MemEx, coordinator of the project. I'm now just giving you some preliminary information about what the World Café session was in Evora, just for those people who were not able to join us during the event. So next slide, please. Thank you. So the World Café session was held during the first day of the fifth ERMN meeting in May 2024. It was attended by more than 90 participants from 15 European countries. The session was actually focused on fostering a discussion on common challenges and opportunities around financing rural mobility, but also trying to capture what was the participants' perception on the barriers, for example, the existing barriers to fund and finance rural mobility services, or the specific needs, and what support is needed at local level by rural communities to implement such mobility schemes. The format was the one of the World Café. This means that we were divided into 5 tables were organized, one with a specific topic, and all participants were invited to join each table and have half an hour discussion about that specific topic. So now we are going to present you some key findings about what was discussed. And the findings have been, let's say, clustered into 2 macro categories. So the first focus I will deal with is related to the application pathways and articulating values and the impacts. So giving you a bit of a taste and flavor of what was discussed and agreed in the table about the application processes. So preparing a project proposal to be funded and being successful, how to make a convincing case. So the problem definition, the benefits for the funder and for the applicant, and valuing social and community benefits. So first of all, we discussed about, for example, the challenge. We started with the challenges, and also then we discussed about the specific needs of the rural communities, and then at the end, the existing potential opportunities and key aspects to be taken into account for a successful proposal. We focused basically on EU, national and regional fundings, and some of these, let's say, aspects highlighted here in the slides are basically suitable for all this kind of funding typology. For example, it was underlined that most often European fundings, but also national fundings, are very much high-level focused. There is a huge fragmentation of the calls, for example, and this makes it difficult to align community needs with the funding criteria. There is also a lack of continuity that doesn't align with, for example, long-term planning. So this inconsistency, we can say that, can pose challenges, for example, for projects that require sustained investment over several years. There are only hotspot windows, and sometimes it can be easy to just miss them. Then, most often, the processes for the application are long and complicated, requiring specific skills, specific expertise, time, resources, and sometimes, and most often, smaller communities have difficulties in finding these all. And then it was also underlined the fact that many funding opportunities for transport and mobility are mostly tailored for urban context, and they might not translate well to rural settings. This is also linked with the difficulties, for example, in monetizing benefits. So quantifying quantifying the benefits of rural mobility solutions is challenging because the value proposition differs significantly from the urban context. So next slide, please. Thank you, Elena. All these challenges are often amplified in rural areas because of several reasons. As I was mentioned before, for example, the limited capacity communities in rural areas are smaller. So they have, for example, limited resources to be dedicated to these aspects, to the funding monitoring and to elaborating successful application proposal. There is a lack of expertise and in-depth knowledge of what is the existing panorama of all funding opportunities. And these lead to difficulties in navigating the complicated and long application processes, as I was saying before. Difficulties also in understanding which are the most suitable funding opportunities that match their needs. But there is also some issues, for example, in the some difficulties, let's say, in the involvement of higher level of politicians. So the scaled up political buy-in can be difficult. And we all know that lobbying and gain support by politicians is a win-win objective to be reached for being successful, and also the time constraints that sometimes can hinder all this process. Next slide. So what are some of the specific needs that emerge during the discussion? Specific needs of smaller communities are the possibility to be supported by professional experts when preparing applications. This is also linked to the possibility, for example, to join forces with other municipalities, maybe, for example, sharing tasks or pooling the resources. This could overcome, for example, problems of having small team or a poor knowledge of the EU funding panorama. And then having the possibility to have specific and targeted KPI for rural challenges and needs. Another thing that emerged that is not coming out from this slide actually is the fact that it was mentioned the possibility to receive specific trainings, for example, on available funding opportunities. And this comes, if you can pass to the other slide, Elena, please. To the possibility to know some existing opportunities that perhaps are not still so spread among rural communities. For example, this is a rural toolkit developed by the Joint Research Center. It is a comprehensive guide to EU funding and support opportunities for rural areas in the European Union. It aims to support local authorities, institutions, stakeholders to identifying which are the most appropriate EU fundings available for specific topics. So there is a specific filter that can be done through the website to, for example, the transport one, to spot which can be the right programs to be chosen. Then passing on the key aspects for making a convincing case. The discussion here was very fruitful. Some key aspects emerged. For example, the importance of having a clear and actionable objective. Actionable in the sense that it is needed to have defined indicators and KPIs, to have concrete operational procedures, to have a broad vision even beyond the project objective, and to have links, well-established links between the objective and the outcomes. Then the community-based initiatives is also a key aspect for a convincing case, because having bottom-up approach allow communities to bring and to highlight their needs and challenges more than the other way around. And an active participation of local communities with for our local action groups, clubs, representing different groups of stakeholders, different backgrounds, is also a very important aspect to be taken into account in order to have also a multi-stakeholders approach. So partnerships with different and relevant stakeholders, including local politicians and community leaders. So going to the next. Other key aspects for a convincing case concern the cost assessment, so having an accurate budget estimation, an effective planning in terms of what which human resources and competencies are needed, the time plan, and also taking into account the policy and spatial context, so understanding the policy framework, spatial dynamics, and align the project with the broader policy goals and local needs. I will quickly go through the end of my part, and then I will pass the floor to Elena. Just this last slide to give you some final tips that emerged during the discussion. So political involvement, as I said before, the assessment also of potential costs of inactions, because the deployment of mobility solution is often expensive for rural communities, but it is important to investigate how much it would cost if this solution doesn't exist. Then the possibility also to apply for small-scale pilots. So small projects leading to concrete results in a relatively short times, adopt an holistic view when considering mobility problems and solutions, be involved in the right networks, and define mutual benefits for both applicants and funders. So thank you. I think was my last slide. I will leave the floor to Elena for the other part. Thank you.
Thank you, Eleonora. Okay, now we will, I will present the second focus on financing strategy and fund experience across multiple sources. That is the main topic of 3 tables that we have during the World Café in Evora. Concerning that point, okay, during the World Café, the main funding sources identified by the participant are 3. So European, national regional funds, and private funds. From the start point, the participants has identified the main program and fund that they have utilized in their project, and it comes out that they use a lot the Interact program. They refers also to reforming and enhancing the EU research and innovation system that is on a Horizon Europe program concerning the European funds. Meanwhile, for the national and regional funds, they have experience with the Recovery and Resilience Facility and with the rural development programs. From that point, it's point out that the main topic of the project are related to road safety, mobility management, fleet renewal, and the infrastructure. Naturally, as you can see, there isn't a focus and a speak on mobility solution. Only the mobility manager is near that, near the mobility, and the other are teams that are connected to mobility. So there is also a lack of necessity to have more projects focus on that topics. Naturally, during the World Café, there was the possibility to also highlight the relationship with the financing sources and the rural areas. Indeed, it comes out that the EU funds are really connected and addresses to area with more inhabitants than the city and regional with low inhabitant, and the rural areas are left behind. So there is a focus on that. Last but not the least, also the participants like that the funding for transports are divided in silos. So there is also a difficulty for them due to they use a holistic approach and they are searching for more flexible and cross-cutting funding structure to support rural mobility solution in their territories. Another solution and aspect that come from the World Café session is that to improve the participation of rural cities, of city, region, and rural areas, is to simplify the application process that are needed for rural small municipality, and to also reduce bureaucracy with using flat rate and lump sum in some EU fundings. We have identified some challenges and barriers already. Some of those are already presented by Eleonora. And for example, we have already said that the application for funding is a time-consuming activity, most of all in the part of the read of understand which funding we need to applicate, wrote all the forms, gathered the necessary partners and the document. There is also at the same time a lack of technical skills, staff, and awareness in preparing a strong and successful application for the municipality, for the little municipality. Also, there is also a difficulty in gathering data related to the behavior and the need of inhabitants of rural territories that could help to address the proposal of the project and to identify the correct application. We have also identified other challenges because to have a successful application is necessary to create a good network, to search also internal funds for the co-financing of the project, in particular for at the beginning phases where the project has to start and the fund will give after the first period. Naturally, there is a lot of competition with large cities that have more capability and experience on funding proposal. And also there is a challenges of the integration of expected and existed mobility service in the territories. So from the part of mobility solution, but also for the part of the match of needs of tourists and residents. So the mobility solution implemented and presented in the proposal should match these all these aspects. Natural is important that mobility solution development and proposed in the project will be sustainable over the end of the project. In fact, a lot of participants, representative of municipality highlight us that sometimes a project has been successful and received financing by the government, the municipality have to support the cost of it to carry out on the future, creating a lot of difficulty due to the limited resources that a rural municipality has. So it's necessary to draft and plan a long-term plan to frame the investment and to improve communication coordination in accessing the EU funding. From this start point, we have identified some solution results that we have divided in 4 main teams. The first one is the cooperation. So one of the pillar key funding is the cooperation between these different entities. We have list some of them. So from municipality, regional authorities and select, private sector, in particular for tourist company association and transport operator, university, voluntary association, and citizen. The cooperation will help the municipality to and naturally the other entities to access integrate funds effectively, to submit and join applicant have more success in the proposal of the project due to the co-design and co-plan and cooperation between all these, naturally, all these actors. And there is more possibility to finance and maintain the mobility solution in the territories. The second main theme is planning. So to have a successful proposal, it's necessary to plan the solution in advance and seeking the funding for each partner. So identify the rule and the budget for each partners. Naturally, it is also important to have a mix of funding sources due to the lack of the presence of dedicated sources to rural territories. And it's good to explore models for sustainable financing of rural mobility scheme beyond the initial pilot phases. The third main aspect is the engagement. Naturally, it's really important, as previously said, to involve the private sector, the volunteers, and all the stakeholders in the planning and draft phases to present, apply for a proposal. It's a good thing to identify the benefits of rural mobility and show them to the private sector and communities to make them feel part of the process and part of the solution. So it's one of the solution identified by also from the participant is to search to draft apply for social service based on user needs. So draft proposal for based on what the population needs. And it will help also the engagement and the involvement of this part of this type of stakeholder in the proposal. Last but not the least, solution is the software. Naturally, it's really important that the European Commission shares good practice with rural municipalities that have been successful in applying the EU and national funding is what we have tried to do with the guidance that we have share with all participants thanks to the project. That is important also share data, knowledge, and know-how on mobility solution between partners, so between municipality but also online, for example, Mobilicon, that is a German example presented in the World Café session in Evora. And another aspect that has been highlighted from the participant is it's necessary to continuous public support to sustain rural mobility solution after the implementation. So thank you for the attention.